भी पढ़ सकते हो, आपका वही वीडियो ऑन करके यहाँ पे भी देख सकते हो।
अभी कितने लोग लाइव है? So hi guys, today we are going to discuss about the session of personal interview. So basically most of the entrance exams for undergraduate programs are done, and some of the universities are also done with their personal interview rounds like Christ University and so on. The upcoming personal interview round for SET General, IPM and other exams are something that we are targeting as of now, so that the personal interview round becomes easier for all the aspirants, right? So there are two major aspects when it comes to preparation of personal interview, in general, right? The very first thing is the preparation aspect, how much prepared you are, right? What is the study that you have done? And the second part is how well trained you are. Both these things go hand in hand, right? And when it comes to personal interview, the most important aspect that the interviewer looks for is probably how far you are able to be you. So whenever you are faking something, or when you are trying to pretend something that you are not, okay, or at times when you try to answer things where you're not that prepared, or sometimes you just try to show off that you are well trained, it is easily going to be caught, right? It is very easy for them to understand this, that this is not the real you, right? So ideally, when you go to see, people tell you n number of things, like they're going to check your confidence level, they're going to check how what the way you answer things and all of those things, but no, at the end of the day what they're hunting is the real you, right? So as far as and as long as you're trying to be original, you're trying to portray yourself the way you are, it will be easier for you to get selected, or I'll say that the chances of getting selected are higher, right? So we'll just try to understand at this point or in this session that how do we do this preparation part. Obviously, the preparation is not something that is going to happen overnight or in a day. It is going to take some time, right? And at this point of time, obviously, all of you, might have been prepared, or, you might have started up with your preparation, that, there's something that you have already studied. There is something, you're confused with things like what to study or what will be asked, kind of things. So we'll just understand that how your preparation should go when you're preparing for a personal interview. So when it comes to pre-work, that is when it comes to the preparation part of the interview, these are the 4 major things that you need to keep in your mind, right? The very first thing is you need to understand yourself. So we just understood this key. You have to describe yourself. They are going to judge on who you are. They want you to be original. So for that, it is important for you to know yourself, right? The second thing is you have to have proper information about the course that you are going for, or the course that you're looking forward to study, right? The next thing is happenings around. Whatever interview you pick up, GK is something that has always been a part, right? So they'll ask you some questions from current affairs, or maybe something from static GK, but everything is going to be a part. Finally, it is important for you to know about the institute that you're going to go for, whether it is Symbiosis, whether it is IIMs, or whatever exams you have written as per that, whatever institutes you're preparing for, right? So further we'll be studying a little more in depth about how do you prepare for all these 4 sections. Any questions up till here? See, we are YouTube live here in order to interact with you and understand your queries and problems and resolve them. Fine, so we'll move ahead. So the very first part that we had to study was to understand yourself, right? So obviously your introduction is going to include your name. So that is, you start with that. The second thing is you need to jot down your educational background, your professional background. Now obviously, being an undergraduate student, professional background doesn't mean that you have to have work experience, but you have to understand that what profession you want to go in future, what are your short-term, long-term goals, and how do you look at the profession that you want to enter in, right? The next is the domain knowledge and achievements. So whatever course that you you're looking for, whether it is BBA, BA, BSCIT, or the IPM program, or whatever course, it is important for you to have a little bit of domain knowledge of that course. And if you have any achievements, up till your 12th standard, 10th standard, your school achievements, that can also be added in your introduction, Then comes your personal details, like your hobbies, what you like to do, who you are exactly, and all of those things, right? So whenever it comes onto understanding yourself, onto how you're going to introduce yourself in the interview, very basic question that they ask is describe yourself, or tell us something about yourself, or introduce yourself. These are a few pointers that you can include in, right? So there are some people who try to include the strength, weakness, and all of these things, but I would not recommend you to go for it. As far as you have enough content when it comes to these 4 pointers for your self introduction. The next thing is your course. Obviously, when you're choosing a particular course, you're going to choose it only when you want to build your career, your profession into it. And for you to do that, it is important for you to have quite a good amount of information about that course. So that is general details about the course, what the course is exactly about, where is it going to take you, why you have chosen that course, relevance of that course in today's time. This is very important. It is important for you that how important that particular course is, or what is the need of it today, right? Then comes the scope of it, that is the future, how the scope of this course is going to increase in the near future or in the later future of the time. The need of it, why is it so important for the country, or maybe for the industry that you want to get in, some basic laws related to your course. Yes, that is going to be an add-on in your personality when you're going to answer your questions using some facts, some recent happenings, right, with regards to your course. So for example, if you are going for BBA, right, so something related to administration, something related to management, some decision that a startup has taken, or maybe a big company has taken, if you're going to add that in your answer, it is going to be an add-on, right? Some laws that have come up, all of these things will add to your profile, basically your knowledge. It will enhance your personality. But yes, obviously you don't have to fake it, you have to have knowledge about it, and for that you will have to study about all this. Yes, this is pre-work that we are talking about. Then comes happenings around. So again, it is, as I told you, it is very important, there'll always be questions from current affairs and static GK and all of these things. So yes, obviously general knowledge, right from local to global. They can ask questions from the local vicinity where you stay, from the state where you belong, from maybe India level, sometimes globe level. Yes, so it is important for you to have this knowledge. So there's no boundary to GK. Yes, again, to enhance your answers, to make them more good, and reading newspaper is very important. The editorial headlines, this is one of the most common questions they ask, that do you have a habit of reading newspaper, and you say yes, and then they ask you, okay, so what is the headlines that you read today? Like, this is a very common question that can be expected, so you have to know this. And as some of the exam dates are really near, I would and also which are not that near, you have some time, I would recommend you to watch prime time news at 9 PM or in the morning, where you can at least get information about all the headlines. Yes, so all this will be add-on. You really never know what information can come in use when you really want to give an answer at a particular point in your interview. Yes, don't forget that you are going to be selected in a top-notch institute only when you are different from the crowd. Yes. The next is all about the institute that you want to go for. So you have to know the history of the institute that you want to enter in, the reputation that the institute has built gradually over the period of time, the ROI placements if you really want to add it, their teaching methodology. Obviously all the top-notch institutes are going to have modern way of teaching. They're going to have a lot of practical aspects in their teaching, and life at that institute. Obviously it is just not going to be bookish knowledge and study. They're going to have a lot more things, right from their cultural events to various webinars that they might have, or different committees that they might have. So all this is going to be an add-on in your personality altogether. Yes. So these are the few things that you need to know about the institute that you want to go in, and you will get all this information from their website, or maybe talking to some of the alumni. You can connect to some of the alumni using social networking sites, and try to gain some information on a good note. Of course, that is again going to be very helpful for you to give answers. They might again, this is a common question that they ask, that why this institute, why only this institute? So all this information is going to be helpful for you to answer why that institute, right? You can have an anecdote, a small story about your real life experience that you can just add to answer this question, along with all these facts and figures. Yes. So finally, what are the things that to-do list on the day of your interview? It is very important for you to wear your confidence. Yes. So obviously, because you might have not given an interview before this, or there's a hell lot of database that you have studied, a lot of content that is there in your mind, and there's a lot of nervousness, but that cannot be shown. Yes. So make sure that you wear your confidence really well, stay relaxed on that day. You're well dressed, very, very, very important. Even though if your interview is going to be online, I would recommend you to be, that you're well groomed. That will, because that's going to be the first impression that you're going to give them of yours. Your communication. Yes. So in case if your English is really weak, what you can do is put it into practice of talking in English for a while, for 2-3 days, 4 days, how many ever days are left for your interview. If you have really long time, it'll be good if you put it into practice. Start talking, so that on that day your fluency is not impacted. On that day you are not fumbling, or you don't have problem like lack of words and all of these things. Your thought process, they might give you a lot of different situation in order to understand how do you think over things. They will repetitively ask you questions that will be Yes, do you have any questions up till here? So finally, I'm open for the Q&A, and so whatever questions, doubts, or any kind of confusion that you have, we can clear it here. Yes, Gurpreet, the session will be available on YouTube, so you can check the session there. Arnav, some of the basic question or general questions that are asked are tell me something about yourself, why this course, why this institute. So I hope I have answered all the questions that were asked. Is there anyone else who wanted to ask any kind of question? Fine, as there are no questions ahead, we'll wind up for the day.